Welcome to Ancient Library. Welcome to the second part of UFOs and aliens, or mysteries surrounding those. And at first I want to touch on the intro video. This is like pretty interesting footage. The alleged MH370 abduction. I think everyone just heard this once in a while. It's like 10 years ago. And the first footage is actually by a drone showing infrared footage in the night. It's not daytime, it's the nighttime. And the second footage is an intelligent satellite. I want to mention a few things about this. There's some information coming through about this case. At first, many people thought this was like a just CGI fake because it looks pretty unbelievable. And then some people actually done some research and found out that this footage is actually corroborating the date and the location of the plane. And additionally, we got a witness on a boat below the location of the plane, which is an orange flash, and pretty extraordinary happening. So if we got a witness corroborating this as well, cannot check this 100%. I just want to put this out because that's a pretty interesting thing to engage in the UFO and alien thing. And that's two separate things. Does not have to be the case that they're actually aliens doing this. I'm gonna touch on this later. Most likely it's not, but think for yourself. I just wanna bring some light into the dark edges of the UFO field, I would say. And let's get some more facts on this. This footage is supposed to be leaked by Lieutenant Commander from the Navy Intelligence Sector. And the guy actually got punished, I would say. They got him for espionage because he was leaking this footage. And he got like 5 to 6 years in prison. And of course, we're not going to hear more for this guy. But maybe he was actually doing the right thing to leak this footage and bring some light into the dark. Because, I just want to mention quick. To take this seriously, we need to investigate this. We cannot say if this is fake and it's debunked, okay, but if there's actually corroborating information and footage, and even we got like drone footage and something, we need to address this. And what's actually pretty interesting is the two sources from the footage, the drone and the satellite, are like manually controlled. There's people operating these things, zooming. You see that they got the focus on the thing before the orbs appearing around, circling the thing and creating a somewhat portal or whatever. So they either know, or they got they know because how you're gonna zoom on it in advance. And it's many people point out it's like a fake if you got these types of videos, but who knows, man. I'm gonna address these videos quick. If you want to see clear footage of a UFO or something, I can recommend the Combo gas case in Turkey. That's there's like people zooming in. You even can see the aliens allegedly. I got a picture here. Put a link in the description if you're interested in this case. It's like that's like actually over the Mediterranean Ocean, and you can see it from the Turkey beach. There was like, I think there was like the same craft or like crafts appearing on the over years, like the same day of the year, following by years. And if you want to do a deep dive on this, I'm gonna source this. And to say something about CGI and fakes in general, you have to think what's the motive about doing this. If you got a TikTok account putting out fake stuff, I don't know if it's like actually worth the work. I don't know, but maybe there's, if you got an agenda behind it, if you got a government doing counterintelligence operations, and you got to pay guys to do this, it's a different story. But then we come about the whole fake UFO stuff, alien invasion scenario to actually do politics to control the world via a third faction where we unite and do a new world order type shit. But I don't want to get too deep on this. I just want to mention there's so much stuff coming out, new footage, and I'm going to source one guy called UFO Video Addicts. He's just putting out videos with a high work rate, mostly showing footage of craft. If you're more interested in the visual aspect, it's not for me because I think you cannot. It's interesting to watch sometimes, but you can't get actually information out of it. It's just like, yeah, watching the funny videos. I mentioned it in the first tome. But I'm gonna put this link in the description. You got like 1K subscribers, and he's putting in work for this aspect. I think you got like a site where it's only an IP, and you got like different folders with tons and thousands of videos and footage of UFOs, and he's just going through that, creating videos, giving his own opinion, and yeah, likable guy. I think he's doing a good job, but yeah, it's not really my forte. To come back on the intro case one last time, I want to address something which is very important to me, and that's there was 239 people on this plane, MH370, the flight, which's been missed and never been really found. I mean, they found some debris in the ocean, and I mean, to operate in the realm of possibilities and rationality, it's like, of course, they're not expecting to the plane getting teleported away in another dimension or whatever. But we have to keep in mind there was like over 200 people on this plane, and the people have been missed. And there was relatives out there missing these people, and it's a tragedy. And I just want to address. I put this in the intro and get somewhat positive music under the intro because it's the intro, and I'm fully aware of this. And I thought about this, but I think to actually get people aware of the reality, or to actually get people aware if it's a fake, to debunk this, I actually can do this, and I don't want to disrespect anyone, but I think to get a genuine reaction, we need genuine information and a genuine horizon to actually see through and get the truth, and then we can react properly. And now I just want to highlight this because it's important to me, and I want to address this, and I want to just get that most of people can get a true perception about the stuff. And if it's fake, it's like it's from two angles, same time. We got a story behind it. We got actually a witness. So I mean, it's not in a court case or something, but that's pretty high work rate for something to create it artificially, if you get me. So yeah, that's about the intro case. In this video, I wanna touch on a few cases. There's gonna be a long video about stuff, but it's necessary. And the next case we're going to Brazil, near Rio de Janeiro. There's a town called Varginha, and the story about this case is in the 90s there was like a cigar-shaped UFO allegedly crashing, smoke on the thing, and it crashed. There was farmers seeing this object coming down and going to the crash site. Immediately they came in like some, I don't know, some, how you put it, government people, and claiming the site. And the story behind this is there were beings. I'm going to show this on the screen in a second. Beings running through the town, like 3 or 4 beings actually from the crash site and from the UFO, and they looked like brown with red eyes, and people say it was an incredible stench, like an intense smell descending from these creatures. And if we zoom out for a moment, that if this case is real, I mean, it shows there's like different life forms on different planets, and maybe their planet is like a more acid type, and it's totally normal, and they're not even recognize this. And it's just a difference between us and them that we recognize this intense stench. It just shows the difference of the rainbow, the difference of the universe. To get back to the actual case, we got 2 girls witnessing. This is like an artwork of the creature crouching down, and like the girl said, he's actually communicating on a telepathic way with them, screaming for help and signalizing fear. And then we got another young military or police guy who actually catched one of the creatures and was later infected and died on an unknown disease weeks later. They said he was perfectly fine, like pre the event. And if you want to know more about the story, there's like a big documentary which has come out 2022 called Moment of Contact by James Fox. I can recommend it. You can even watch this with a no UFO guy. We can even watch this with normal people. It's a pretty entertaining story and a good entry. And it makes appetite for more. And it's I don't want to say too much about the case. Later, US jets came in and actually transferred the remains allegedly to the US. I mean, that's most likely the case. So I want to talk a little bit more about James Fox and the documentaries he's putting out in the past. I want to mention three more real quick. In 2003, he put out the documentary called Out of the Blue. In '09, he put out I Know What I Saw. In 2020, The Phenomenon. And in 2022, Moment of Contact, which I just mentioned. He got some podcasts and some interviews, and he's a very curious guy, and yeah, he's a likable guy as well. I got some sympathy for him, and I know he got another movie in the making right now that's supposedly come out next year, 2024. So I'm looking forward to that. Now I wanna zoom out for a moment and talk about life and the universe for itself. I mean, if we just think about how everything began on this planet, I mean, scientists say we need to be in a very special spot, in a sweet spot, and there's different theories around about life, how it evolved on this planet, and in general. And I just want to speculate a little bit and put some facts inside. Um, I mean, let's talk about humanoids. I mean, as far as we know, obviously, we are the only human species in the universe so far we discovered. But I got a theory, and I think humanoids are not actually a rare thing if you're considering that it's like there's the guy who discovered the DNA sequence, Cricks. He is supporting a theory where there was a primordial soup in the first place, where it's like the smaller life forms evolving, going into the water, and then yeah, everything grows bigger, and we got the mammals. And I don't want to talk about apes on this. I'm not really supporting this theory, but yeah, I just want to touch on some things. The primordial soup theory. He's the guy who actually decoded the DNA. And he's saying, okay, I believe in the primordial soup theory, but it's not on this planet, not on our planet, because it was not enough time to get such a high gene variance on the planet like it is today. And so he thinks actually there's some asteroid coming in, or I mean, it's enough space to interpret. Like you can think it's for the wildest theories. You can actually think there are humanoids or human species evolved on another planet and it just came in and interfered with the story of the Earth, maybe. And I mean, yeah, there's some wild theories around, but I just want to zoom out for a moment and just want you to think about life in general. And the transition I'm going to make right now is into the very first famous UFO case in Roswell in the 1940s, and supposedly they found beings in this crashed saucer, and people make the theory these are like androids, and I find that I can actually support that theory because if you got high attack and you're a higher evolved life form, it's most likely when you can travel through the space and discover worlds, you're not sending out real people, you just create artificial life, and maybe it's so high on a level that it's even self-conscious fully and can make its own actions and fly in descend in far out worlds to discover those and sending data back or something, and might as well eventually something is going to crash. About crashes and crash retrievals, I'm going to touch on this on multiple angles in this video. And yeah, I mean, some people got the theory, or they just say, okay, if they're so highly advanced, how can they even crash? And maybe they're crashing it's not a natural cause. Maybe they're getting shot down by random technologies we don't know about, but it's just a wild theory as well. But yeah, to make some progress here, I want to mention some types of craft, of like actually UFO flying craft, which has been seen on the planet. And yeah, we got some categorizing here. I think the most common one and the most known one is the actual flying saucer shape, like the disc shape craft, which has been like more than vanilla-like edition of UFOs. And then we got like several more. I'm going to show the Tic Tac. This like in the past it's more called like a flying propane tank, and there's like the famous Tic Tac case in the USS Nimitz with Commander David Fravor. I'm gonna lose some words over this as well later. But this is like more the tic-tac shape, I would say, and it's like not the first and only case where this like object appeared. And then we got the cigar shape, rectangle shape, orb shape. I mean orb, then it's going more from the solid craft type to an energetic beam energy type of thing. But it's actually pretty common to see orbs if you see a UFO. Then we got UFOs which are changing the shape, changing the form, and egg shape. And I think there's more out there, but one thing I just almost forgot is the triangle shape. And on the triangle shape, we got a very distinct design on some, and this is called a TR3B, which people say, or the opinion is it's crafted by humans, and it's actually some in special access programs, and it's not actually alien tech, still exotic, but people suppose it's run with nuclear engine propulsion system, and it's flying around on the planet, most likely controlled by US plague projects. But if you're interested in this, there's like tons of material online. You can visit the Alien Scientist channel I mentioned, and I'm going to mention this video as well because he's actually doing a lot of work in the field, and he got something I don't have, and that's a physics background. I'm going to touch on the physics section in this video, but it's I'm not going to talk about stuff I actually don't know. So I will keep that compact, but still I'm going to give you ways to dive deeper into the physics if you like got new education or curious into stuff. That's no problem. So we talk about types of craft, and there's difference. Triangle shape, there's like actually seen the glowing energetic triangle shape. It's not all the TR3B, but still. Okay, I want to switch the section here quick and throw some words in: stigma, bias, skeptic, debunkers, and that's some real subjects. They got no really matter into it. It's just how you actually approach information. And I just want to say, if you got like counterintelligence active, or you got like this UFO field, it's so much theory, so much real facts you can actually grip on. So I just want to mention a thing. In English, there's a few words where you can describe stuff pretty nice, in my opinion. But I think one word, especially in the context to UFOs, is to crystallize knowledge. I picked it up and I find it very nice because it's describing a process where if you translate it to actually gaining knowledge and collecting knowledge or generating wisdom, you dare crystallizing knowledge too early because you're running around with a false narrative and got everything in the wrong filter. And in the UFO field, you need to be open-minded. And there are some people that are 10 years deep and they just think they know everything, and everything what's new, they instantly say nay or debunk or whatever. And I mean, most likely it's good to be skeptic, but you need to be cautious. And pardon. The next thing, I want to make a quick transition to theological questions on the field. And I mean, some people, if they're like UFOs gonna appear in the sky and they're like pretty faithful people in religions or even faithful people for itself, it's like creating a whole belief system. It's pretty likely if you considering how people believe blind in such things, and if they actually see things in the sky, there's some people gonna hop immediately on the angel and demons bandwagon. I'm gonna promote their belief system and interpret stuff into it. Yeah, just a quick touch on this. I want to recommend a book, American Cosmic by Diana Walsh Pasulka, and she's combining actually the like religion and technology aspect as well in the UFO field, and it's a pretty interesting if you like coming more from this angle. Not really my forte to put it in a religious context, but it's surely an important stuff to talk about it from this angle. And the next thing I'm going to touch on is the subject of a so-called paradigm shift. And paradigm shift is a pretty mighty words, and people throw it often too lightly, in my opinion. But I want to address the recent UAP hearing, which for itself was, publicly speaking, a pretty historical event for the USA and for the world, I would say. It's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours long on YouTube. You can watch it. And it's basically three main people that are swearing and giving testimony to our pilots. One is like a leader Top Gun pilot, experienced guy, and he's actually the guy who chased the Tic Tac UFO, which I just mentioned in 2004, I'm pretty sure. And there's like hours of material as well on the net where you can dive deep into this case, and he can say he chased the UFO, and he's giving testimony as well with another pilot and a guy from the National Reconnaissance Office, like a guy who's like the main whistleblower, the front man, if you will. And yeah, I mean, he's been making the claims basically that are around since Area 51 and Bob Lazar. And he's just like, giving more substance to this. But it's more like, in either way, if he's like a lame counterintelligence guy just playing a role, he's a pretty good one. But yeah, I don't want to be too sure about this. But I want to address a few more people in this hearing, and that's like Representative Burchett, who's like the initiator of the thing, and he's like from the Republican side, but he's doing this in a bipartisan way, and that's like, I think that's actually good for the subject, and it's actually, it's how they should approach this. I mean, if they put this down in factions, we're never gonna see any progress in this on a public way. On the other hand, I don't want to put too much in these public events because it's all under the curtain of national security and NDAs, and people are not gonna say too much. So I'm not expecting too much from these events. Okay, now I want to touch on remote viewing for a quick segment. Remote viewing is one type or one form of ESP, extrasensory perception. And I want to bring a person up named Joe McMonigal, and this is like a top guy performing remote viewing for the US. He's like on a facility called Monroe Institute where remote viewers getting trained, and to get a glimpse what remote viewing is and what's the good thing and what's like the actual value of the thing, I'm going to give you some examples what this guy has actually done for the intelligence sector. I think you're all aware of the Red October story, the super advanced submarine that Russia has built a few decades ago, and like a nuclear sub basically, but a very advanced one, never been seen before. Like it's like, I think the Typhoon class or something. And I don't know the whole story, but the remote view part was like nobody knows where the Russian guys built this, and but it was not public. Nobody knows it, and he was. They just know like a little information or something that something is gonna come. I don't know precisely, but actually the guy did remote viewing and found the whole base and found the whole thing where they built it. He was not believed in the first place, but later where it like was like actually open for everyone, it was like confirmed the guy was actually right. Another story is there was like a flying lab around in the 80s or 90s, old technology. We got no ISS or something out there, and the thing was actually supposed to crash on Earth, and US was pretty concerned. I mean, that's like a refrigerator size thing hitting a building or hitting a person or whatever. And they actually called him, and he was thinking that's the perfect test for him to prove his abilities. And he was not actually exact on the thing, but he missed it by 30 miles in 6 days. And to add something here, it's like he actually performed the thing in the future as well. So he was not actually searching for a target or searching for like a location or something. He was actually looking into the future, if you will, and predict something. And it was coming down in Australia, and basically they believed him because he got some credibility to his name in this sector. And another thing I want to mention is he said like he never missed like a nuclear sub, or everything was in connection with nuclear material. And he said if you do the remote viewing, this thing is like an entropy, and it's glowing like light in the dark basically. And I just want to mention something here. I mean, if he says this when he's in this remote viewing performing transcendent type of state, like he's closing your eyes 5 seconds and got it. But I think if you like, you need practice and ability to actually perform these things. But they say everybody can do it, and if you want to perform or try these things out, it's not actually a thing about money. It's a thing, if you want to do it, you can do it for free. It's not much to learn. It's basically pretty basic, and I think humanity gonna explore these fields in the near future. And yeah, maybe the faith is not getting invested in some fake religion, what's in this century causing conflicts about like Jewish and Muslim people, for example. And I don't want to get into this, but you know what I mean. Maybe investing the faith and abilities we all got, and faith, and to connect with people and get everything out, and not get everything out, get everything out of the connection. Yeah, and yeah, to get back to ESP, yeah, like he saw radioactive stuff in this state, and I mean maybe we harness energy from radioactive stuff, and we think it's cool and it's pragmatic, but maybe on other sequences, on other realities, on other dimensions or whatever, it's actually not a good thing, and it's disturbing stuff. But it's just a theory on my side. And yeah, for the next one, I'm going to touch on a small physics section, and the physics section, like I just mentioned, I'm not holding a degree in physics or something, so I'm not going to talk about real deep stuff, but I'm going to I'm going to give you some sources where you can do this if you want. And yeah, that's like obviously the alien scientist Jack Safati, who is on the net, and like, yeah, the other guys from remote viewing as well, Russell Targ, Hal Puthoff, and like Rahel Puthoff, and these guys, they work for the government for sure. They're not gonna give all secrets, but you have to consider these guys are very old, 80, 90 years old, and I don't think they're gonna lie basically on their deathbed. Like, I don't know, I'm not believing this, but yeah, think for yourself. I'm gonna mention my thoughts on the physics, and it's all surrounded by propulsion systems, about gravity, and metamaterials, which are actually intelligent materials, structured on a molecular atomic scale, which we are not able to do in this space and time, at least not in a public knowledge. And maybe if we got actually crafts flying around from different from star systems and many worlds in the vast universe, we got maybe different types of propulsion we not even can imagine, not even perceivable for us, conceivable for humans. And if you got high speeds and got these exotic techniques and high advanced stuff, you can basically time travel. If you can reach the speed of light, it's like only a numbers game. It's like, I think it's not far away from doing actually time travel, what's like almost inconceivable for us. And it exposes the thing that we don't know shit about the universe, to be honest, to even conceive such things. But I got a like interesting part of the video about time travel and a theory I'm gonna mention later. Some people say it's new physics. Maybe it's not even new physics, just an understanding. I think that's just a game of words at this point. It's certainly something we don't know and we can discover and we can make theories about. I think theories is a good start for everything new. I mean, often they fail, but if 1 out of 100 matches and we just try stuff, maybe we can increase our knowledge, yeah, instead of wasting energy for weapons and stuff. But yeah, I mean, to get some stuff about remarkable facts about UFOs when they're flying around, even the government has determined those are like no heat and visible exhaust, like no aerodynamic shape. Like we build planes, they have to ascend in the air and something. It's like they just lift, accelerate, and reaching Mach 60 speeds and like high altitude and like maneuvers like our propulsion systems and our planes can't perform. There's no way. And like visible distortion, if you got it on video, some people say, oh, it's all blurry videos, but some people say maybe it's like a exotic propulsion system which is causing distortion in pictures and videos with our digital devices. And then it's like radiation, like actually radiation burn on humans. Some humans suffer like weird sickness phenomena, like almost like cancer if you're like exposed to radiation similar to this stuff. And yeah, that all speaks for like propulsion systems. We got no clue. My theory is on the radiation thing. I mean, it's either processes we don't understand, but I can imagine if they're flying around with a TR-3B and they want to make this fly for any price, they're gonna install some shit like they do with the submarines. So yeah, and if it's a black project, they don't need to tell anybody. So God knows what the heck they put inside of these things. But yeah, there are stories about radiation thing from, like, I would say genuine UFO cases as well, UFO cases as well. And yeah, so that's some few facts I can put in. And yeah, I mean, if they are visible, most likely they tap in and out of our reality. That's like, maybe it's the high speed or things we actually have no clue about. And yeah, I mean, one last thought on the physics is, I mean, if it's actually real craft, if it's materialized stuff, or is it like projected through, like, people can say blue beam, holograms, scalar tech, whatever. That's like a real question. I mean, maybe in 50 or 100 years we all say, okay, it was all a government joke, and they just said, oh, we don't need artificial terror, we just project UFO in the sky and yeah, try to get the narrative so. But yeah, that's what I mean. You can get lost in this thing. You can get really lost. And I'm gonna approach with caution, and I'm gonna recommend it to everyone in this topic to not get too deep in or try and forcefully to get a answer to stuff. It's not gonna work, and just, yeah, gonna make you crazy, I guess. Yeah. The next topic is, I want to mention some specific UFOs, and that's like USOs, identified submerged objects, like basically UFOs underwater, and a quick brief on underwater bases. To mention a quick fact, 1 out of 100 UFO cases is actually a USO case, or both. To mention the Tic Tac as well, I mean, it was operating over the water, so not a USO, but I mean, it was actually interacting with stuff but underneath the water. So there was actually something supposedly under the water, another device or something. So a USO was basically involved. And since it's identified, it's matching the description. The thing is, transmedium craft, basically UFOs, USOs. I mean, if you got a propulsion which is folding space and not actually traveling like we travel distance, when you actually fold it through exotic technology we don't have, and we don't have much clues about, you can actually, it's no big deal to go underwater. And if it's no big deal to go underwater, and you can not exposed to high pressure, you can actually build stuff to make a base. It's just theory, but yeah, why not? I mean, we know 5% of the ocean, so there's plenty of space where no human is going. So I want to mention some facts about USO, some hotspots. Almost 10% of the known USO hotspots are in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, and yeah, the Bermuda area is not far away from this. I think that's a whole different topic for another video, but I just want to mention this quick. Like the Adriatic Sea in Italy and British Columbia, Canada, and Japan, which I'm going to touch on soon as well. And I want to mention a person real quick. That's retired Admiral Galore. I don't know how to pronounce his name right, but he's from Navy, and he was a 2 or 1-star admiral, and he's like actually a sea specialist. He was busy mapping the ocean, and he was finding a unique spot near Catalina Island on the coast of California, where there was looking like a missing wedge was in the seafloor, 700 meters down on the seafloor. And he's like a specialist and got a long career, like doing in the Navy area, and actually on the water in his free time as well. And I got the impression he's a pretty smart guy and curious guy. And he was saying he never sees something like this before. It's like, it looks so artificial, and he's seen so much. And I can recommend to check this guy out if you're especially interested into USOs, because yeah, he's the guy in this case, I would say. And to go back to Japan for a quick moment, I mean, in Japan is a big island, so it's basically nothing rare that these things are seen there. But there was seen in the Nagasaki and Hiroshima bomb dropping event, and in the Fukushima event, which was like nuclear stuff included as well. And I got a whole another section in this video. It's about nukes and UFOs, because there's clearly a connection in relation, and I gotta mention some facts and theories about this. But before I go to this, I wanna cut on 2 more things, and it's like the moon and Antarctica. And I wanna start with the moon and some some facts about it. Or at first I want to talk about like there was myths like the dark side of the moon and stuff there, and they think like we don't see the dark side of the moon, and the moon is actually not rotating at high speed, so it's actually not rotating faster than Earth. So basically we see one side the whole time and the other side is away from us, and you can see on the picture clearly one side got more impact leftovers, and the other side is looking very clean because it's towards Earth, and there's actually logically not coming much meteors from this direction, not much asteroids like we learned in the Tome 2 video. And I want to mention a mathematical interesting fact, and that's like if you're standing on the surface of the Earth, and for example it's full moon, and you see the full moon and you see the sun to the same time. Let's imagine that for a minute. You're gonna see it's like actually the same size. So why is that? That's why, because the sun is actually 400 times more away like from the Earth like the moon. So the moon is like 1 times out of 400 times away the distance like the sun. And the sun is like 400 times bigger than the moon. So if you see this in numbers, the number 400 comes up 2 times. And yeah, we can talk about random stuff. And I don't think that's actually random. That's an interesting fact. So, it got the same size from our perspective, but it's actually pretty different things. So it almost seems like it's like, I don't know, it's like almost seems like it's designed for the perspective on Earth. But yeah, that's just a quick thought on the moon from my side. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about astronauts. I mean, the moon is yeah actually the first body we visited and set foot on space. That not actually far. We not made it far away, considering the distance of the moon and the distance of other planets and worlds. Limited by our propulsion system, it seems like. And we got all the testimonies from the astronauts. They said, oh, there was UFOs already on the way to the moon, and on the way back. It just seemed like they was controlling the whole process. And to get some facts out, like it was some decades ago, actually, a human being set foot on the moon. And I don't know if that's for no reason. It's not matching with the progress behavior of human species to not set foot there. I don't know, risk and return. But I just got some informations in and just watched the thing from decades ago and saw the actually tech they got. And I mean, we got like 10 times more tech in our pocket these days with our smartphones. So it was actually an insane achievement. And as far as I know the story, it was a pretty type one as well. I mean, they made it back and I think they were all alive or something, but it was pretty rough. And they almost not made it. And yeah, it was like a blockbuster scenario for itself, this moon landing thing. And I don't want to expand too much on this. The thing I want to mention the moon is actually if you make a base, you either make it underwater or you make it on the moon. Maybe inside of the moon, maybe you got, yeah, if you can go underwater. I mean, you always have to imagine if you got insane tech and very high advancement in intelligence or whatever, you got solutions we don't have. And things they seem incredible for us, maybe it's just normal for them. For them, yeah, whatever they are be. Yeah, okay, that was about the moon. Now I'm gonna say something about Antarctica. And of course, Antarctica, like a mystical body like a mystical continent, I would say. And yeah, I mean, some people say, or that's actually evident that there's land below the ice. So if you can travel below water and you got the tech, you can basically use the space as well. Additionally, humans were interested in Antarctica as well. Like 10 years ago, I got a book given to me. It's a German book, Flugscheiben über Neuschwabenland, which is actually containing like conspiracy, like Nazi tech escape type of content. So they maybe make people think maybe there's like a Hitler is in the Antarctica secret base and stuff. Like I don't even think closely remotely that's anything truth about this. But I want to make the point that so much myths around Antarctica and so the public is not actually getting there. unless you're Mr. Beast or something. But yeah, I think you can make a trip there, and it's but you know what I mean. You're not getting access to areas, and it's a big space. It's much space out there. It's a big underestimated continent, and people say there's like green worlds below this, and it's getting more into the fantasy direction. But to keep track here, we got humans actually whistleblowers with the help of Stephen Greer on the SRS podcast as well from Sean Ryan, saying there's like hidden advanced tech from the human side there, the neutrino ice cube detector, who is like actually doing mad things in space and not only detecting neutrinos, like for example shooting down UFOs or managing the space traffic or something he said. And you can check this out. I'm going to put the link in the description if you're interested in this topic. But my main thing was I'm still on the topic of bases. Like if you speculate where you're gonna put bases on the Earth, if you're like observing a civilization, for example, and I'm gonna think these three spots are the main thing, like underwater, Antarctica, and the moon. And yeah, that's about that. To cycle back to what I just said about Japan and the nuclear thing, I'm gonna go to the section about nukes right now. And yeah, there's a lot of material about nukes and UFOs apparently, and I'm gonna point out some things. There's like an uptick since we done nuclear business or make nuclear bombs, and yeah, these nuclear events happened in UFO sightings. Roswell was shortly after this. CIA was founded as well after Roswell, so maybe they got a relation as well. And yeah, it got a long history. If you're in the UFO field, you're gonna heard this as well from Jacques Vallée, a legend in the field. He's got a very recent book called The Trinity Case, and it's about a UFO-related case with nukes as well. I'm gonna mention one specific case, specific thing, and there was an incident where a photo instrumentation specialist from the military named Bob Jacobs was making a video of a maneuver where they, on a project where they shoot an ICBM type missile on the Air Force Base Vandenberg in 1964 into space basically with a nuke on it. And after the second stage burnout of the rocket, a saucer came in on approximately 8,000 miles per hour, shooting like 4 lasers in a distinct pattern, and goes away in the same manner, and the warhead tumbled away and was not actually functioning. It was like diffused basically. And the footage is actually classified, so we can't see this and can put our own eyes on it. But the guy is on the media, and he's swearing he saw it in video, and he's very compelling. And I don't know why he's gonna lie about this, to setting his career and stuff, his sanity basically on the line. So this is like a pretty remarkable incident, and if that's true, they're like pretty active out there protecting us for very dumb moves, which is actually getting me a little bit angry about my own race and my own people. Just be so light with nuclear stuff and making tests, and I don't know. We don't even know how much nukes going off on this planet, and beside the official numbers and stuff. But I want to touch on more on the relation with nukes and UFOs. And there's some more cases. The Maelstrom case, where a red UFO appeared and rendered all nukes offline, like basically not usable. And there's like multiple corroboration witness testimony from multiple military guys who is like actually stating that there's like on nuke bases UFOs came in and basically putting the thing on and off, so playing with the thing. Like that's actually saying a lot. Like basically telling us we got no control. And I mean, you need to consider that it's a very sensible sector in the military and for itself. And if there's like, they can think it's adversary, it's like it's Russia, China coming on playing with nukes. And I think they don't sleep well after this happens on a day where it's like you got such sensible stuff. I mean, the only solution to get rid of this is to get rid of the nukes. I think I can wake up one day and it's the reality, but I think at this point it's just a dream. But yeah, I mean, we got a huge uptick since these UFO sightings, since we dropped the H-bomb 1952, and like I said, Roswell 5 years earlier. So some people got a theory. It's actually like if we drop nukes and they're causing effects in other dimensions where we maybe disturb space from other dimensions and their beings and the propulsion of the UFOs, but I don't know, that's very far-fetched. But there's many speculations, but there's definitely something going on with nukes and UFOs. And I mean, it's if you think like a normal human being, like zoom a little bit out, and it's just giving an uneasy feeling if you know there's like multiple K nukes around on different factions. And I mean, there need to be a strike of events, very bad strike of events, and we're all getting extinct. And yeah, I mean, I can imagine if there's multiple human factions in the universe for a second and the universe is endless. I mean, some planets might be fully eradicated because of their own life developing in such a direction. And if there's multiple life forms in the universe, advanced and less advanced, I would go around and observe civilizations or people at this point in time where they maybe got the nuclear, split the atom and got the nuclear bomb. And but on the other hand, they're pretty primitive and dumb, like obviously we are, and some leaders of the world. So yeah, I mean that's just a mind game at this point. But I think you get what I mean. Okay, now I want to talk about Skinwalker Ranch. That's a ranch, a big ranch, about 500 acres, located in Utah in the Uinta Basin in the USA. And the name Skinwalker Ranch derived from Skinwalker, which is like a supernatural werewolf type being. I got a picture to show what it allegedly looked like. I don't think this picture is actually real, but it's a famous picture related to the Skinwalker Ranch, and so you get a glimpse of what they mean they saw, or what's actually where the stories are about. There's some weird happenings on the ranch. There's UFO sighting on a mass scale, electromagnetic anomalies, radiation, like weird radiation. They can't find the source, and they got a whole team of scientists there, including Travis Taylor, which is like he got multiple degrees and stuff. He was working for the government and the space projects, and he's actually a highly educated guy. But I got mixed feelings about this place because I mean we know the U.S. and in the past got a lot of projects. They were a bit secret, the Manhattan Project and some other things, MK Ultra and stuff, which is not really a conspiracy. I mean, we got the Oppenheimer movie, which is eluding the whole Manhattan story basically. And yeah, back to Skinwalker, like the Skinwalker thing. I mean, there's like dire wolves, which is like a race of wolves which has been extinct for more than 1,000 years and got more than double the size of a normal wolf we know. And like these beings appear in there, they got shot with a shotgun and other guns and just moving like they feel nothing. So it's like, yeah, pretty extraordinary happenings around there. There's like a poltergeist trickster element to the place. People get driven mad, and it's like, yeah, I got mixed feelings about this, and it's a pretty recent thing in the UFO community. Like Bob Bigelow in the 90s was starting researching the place, and there are multiple books about this, like a book called Skinwalkers of the Pentagon, and I think there's more books written by Colm Kelleher and George Knapp. And yeah, but I think I'm not sure about this place. I got a final conclusion on this. I'm gonna pick up this in a later video as well. But I think personally, it's maybe just a new place for the US Black projects to get their toys tested. And as far as I know, if there are underground bases in the US, I think in this area there is a wide connection of bases underground. So they can do whatever with machines from the ground. There's actually a big story on Skinwalker Ranch is the Skinwalker Ranch is like a living being, like higher intelligence, NHI thing, and they build a whole History Channel story about it, around it. And I don't know, I'm not sure, is this the way you're presenting mysteries these days? I think there's some aspect of seriousness missing on the thing if it's real, and if they claim it is to be. But yeah, like they talk, if you dig the ground, like the Skinwalker being is going to be more aggressive and so on. So yeah, I mean, if you put one and one together, don't dig the ground, maybe you find some stuff there which debunk the whole thing. I don't know. But I want to make a transition, and there's another thing, another event which frequently happening on the Skinwalker Ranch, and that's like cattle mutilations. That's a little bit older than the Skinwalker Ranch phenomena itself. It's a phenomena where mostly cattle and other animal getting mutilated in a weird way, where mostly there's no blood and some organs are removed, and they say, for example, there's like multiple tissues around the heart and the lungs, and they're removing the heart without hurting the tissue, and so they think, okay, that's only possible with an advanced technical perception, or or other instruments we don't have. But I read in a book back in the day that they found a device to exsanguate. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but basically draining all the blood out of a creature, I would say, with what is most likely happening on the cows, because they're all dead and there's no blood on the ground, which is pretty weird and make most people think it must be a supernatural alien UFO phenomena, and there are often UFOs seen when cattle mutilations happen. My opinion on the thing is, yeah, I'm not sure why aliens should abduct cattle or mutilate cattle to get something. I mean, I can't know what I don't know, obviously, but I actually think that's more like of a government agenda to push a certain narrative, and more like aliens are not friendly, and it's like, yeah. But I'm not really sure about this, but it happens on a high frequent on the Skinwalker Ranch as well. But not only there, it's happening supposedly around the world, everywhere. And I'm living in a more rural area, and if I go out for 3 or 5 minutes, I can be sure that I found some cattle, and I never heard about this stuff. But I mean, considering the number of cattle on the planet and considering the happenings, I don't know. I got no really conclusion on the thing, but yeah, it's related with Skinwalker Ranch, and I think it would make sense if it's like a black ops or something. And now I want to touch on the abduction thing, which I just mentioned. Just a quick section. I mean, there are multiple stories, famous stories, Betty and Barney Hill stories since September 61, and the Travis Walton story in the November of 75. Two fully different stories. This was like, one was an interracial pair, like a couple which was abducted by grays, like the typical gray aliens, and I was not too interested into the story, but yeah, I mean, it's like in the 60s where they maybe just got the tools and some high frequency tech right, and just manipulated those people. But I'm not sure, man. Maybe they just got taken by aliens. I don't know. But yeah, they say the aliens look like they got like the eyes on the side of their face or something, and they just in the 60s there was a TV series where aliens with a similar looking face. So this speaks for the psyche making stuff up, but I don't know, man. It's like I honestly don't know about these abductions, but like some people say it happens on a high scale, and it would be too much people to just lie. And I mean, why you should lie about it? You get abducted by aliens. I mean, you get and then you get, I don't know even what to say, but you're gonna say that people say you're insane or something, and you don't want to have that on your face. Yeah, I mean, if they abduct cattle, why they not abduct humans? But on both of these phenomena, I got mixed feelings. I just want to mention them because they're like really attached to the UFO thing. And on this video, which is going to be a pretty long video, I'm gonna touch on multiple sections. Like additionally to the first tome, if you watch both of them, you got a pretty good glimpse about the field. And even if you just use some sources I got in the description box, you're gonna find stuff for multiple 100 or 1,000 hours, and you can dive really deep if you want. And I'm trying my best to be serious as possible with the information I can gather here. Now I want to go to the next section, like special access programs. I mentioned the TR3B at the start, or like in the earlier section. And there's like obviously since the 50s, late 40s, since the Roswell thing, there is something going on with the so-called military industrial complex. Um, there's a thing in the US where you can request information from the government. It's called FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, where every US citizen can, you can do it online and you can access information which has been classified, but there's no reason to be classified anymore, so far as I know. And it's getting tested if it can be declassified for the public. And some people didn't do this on a regular basis, and they done hundreds or thousands of requests. And yeah, sometimes there's some interesting stuff in there. But since I'm not a US citizen, I'm not really active in the thing. I just want to mention this because, yeah, it's related to the UFO thing as well. I want to mention some potentially contracting, companies. Northrop Grumman, like a military thing. Lockheed Martin, obviously, from the Martin Company. Like, got a long history and was building planes and aerotech. And Raytheon as an example, and I think Battelle US National Labs should be mentioned as well. That's like a company with deep on bio things, on the metamaterial aspect, and as far as I know, shout out alien scientists, that they manage all US labs, which is like crucial information for itself, I guess. And I think they should put with the other ones and to get a close picture on the topic. We talked about Grusch and his revelations on the public hearing. He's saying basically the same things. There's like plague projects where nobody's got access, and he's got a high clearance and saw some things and put one and one together and done the math basically. And basically was saying there's money missing, there's lots of money flowing into these plague projects, and nobody actually knows what's happening there. Some people say there's stuff highly like more higher classified than the atom bomb, which is like pretty wild. And some people say Lockheed Martin built a Tic Tacs and got more corroborating stories to this. It's hard to see through. There's many factions in the field. You can always expect other countries like China and Russia playing the game as well. Like on the remote viewing thing, I heard Russia was first. Okay, before we come to the final section, I want to address one more thing, and that's called Occam's razor. Some people, mostly smart people, throwing this around, but I think it's actually a pretty simplistic view on things. Occam's razor is basically a principle where you say it's most likely that the simpler solution is going to be the truth, or like is set with the smallest possible amount of elements is going to be the more likely the truthful solution to things. Like if you got a question and you use Occam's razor, you most likely say you debunk conspiracies. But I think it's actually not working if you got an active force talking information which is like not the same, like actually not supporting the narrative people think, so basically lying to people, and so you're manipulating the thing. And I think Occam's razor works if you got a perfect world, but if you got people doing counterintelligence and lying to other people to get value out of something, it's not actually working. And I want to address that quick because some people just throw out Occam's razor and they got the job done on some topics, and I think that's actually a pretty simplistic way to put things away. Now it's like mostly the last section on the video. I want to mention a special theory I found very interesting. It's called by a guy called Kevin Knuth, which is like a PhD physicist. And he was asked in a podcast why UFOs look all the same, like most likely look like all of the same, like for thousands of years, and why people in old times saw them as flying saucers and now they're looking like basically the same. And he was asking with his theory, and I think he got a real name on the theory, but I'm going to put some links into the description if you want to find out more about this from him personally. And it's basically, I would call it like a time-traveling society. And it's pretty special because he says, imagine you got another civilization who's like figured out the speed of light and basically traveling around in UFOs. And imagine they can travel close to the speed of light or more. They basically can time travel. They basically can travel a distance and warp in time because they're like moving faster than light. And so it's basically time travel if you if you make some thoughts about this. So he was saying it's basically a nomadic society, which is starting on a point and then just planning their future meetings to exchange. Like they're basically traveling around, and the universe, time in the universe is passing by like 1,000 years, for example, and they're just traveling around, and so they can live for thousands of years and can collect data on other civilizations or something, and can send it through maybe a higher civilization. I don't know. That's just all a theory. But if you think about it, and the little we can think about things we can't know, we can extrapolate from things we know, and it's actually a pretty funny thing to put things in a perspective. Like they can make routes or algorithms, and it's like a whole breakaway civilization of travelers basically, and they just meet up in times and exchange goods or information, and it's basically a timeless society. I think you can call it that way. And I mean, it's just a thought experiment, but yeah, I mean, the whole perspective of the universe changes. I mean, they're basically using relativity in their favor. They're basically surfing on the wave of time how they want it. Like we go in our car and go up the street, drive up the street and dive down the street with like 100 or 200 miles per hour. They can just go in time back and forth how they want. They just rinse a CD in a CD player and can, forward, fast forward, or backward. And yeah, I mean, it would most likely explain why UFOs look the same for thousands of years in some cases, and we got cave paintings and ancient texts and stuff. I mean, I could go deep on this, but I don't want to, I want to keep it in a frame here. And I mean, it's a fully different perspective of the universe. If you reach a certain threshold on technology and you can do this, I mean, we can speak about longevity and life expectancy. Imagine you can get thousands of years old. I mean, it don't even matter if you got this tech. You can just travel around. I mean, it's so much thing to unpack here. I will put it in the description box, and yeah, you can dive on this theory. It's pretty interesting one. It was pretty magnificent to me. Now after this theory, I just wanna say, if you got any thoughts on the UFO topic, like any theories, what they might be, extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, like this breakaway civilization thing Knuths is talking about, or like living in the Earth, in underwater bases, on the moon, whatever, what do you think on the thing? You can just make a comment. I surely will reply happily or give a comment to your stuff, what you're writing down, and your thoughts on the actual topic. Yeah, I mean, now I want to get to some final thoughts on the whole thing, and it's a little bit more information than in the part 1, and part 3 is going to be a whole different project, and for me it's pretty fun to talk about these things, and it was a pretty long project, but I think I got many important points in it. And if you got any thoughts on this, just write it down. If you think I've done something wrong, if you think I've done something like appropriate, just write it down. I will happily reply. I mean, some final thoughts on the world, or like to close up the whole thing. I mean, most people know nukes are a problem. Like if we attract UFOs with nukes and dropping bombs on Hiroshima, Nagasaki and things, it will most likely not be a good point in history. The more we progress in time and learn more things about the universe and technology and nature and life form, and it's like, I don't know, I think it's a dark chapter, and we should get rid of this pretty quickly. I mean, you don't have to be a highly advanced alien to see this, to be honest. It's like, it's actually a problem. And I mean, we got the public hearing with Grusch revelations. I hope, if this is like a genuine act, I hope he gets supported and we can unpack more information and get the public informed on these things. And I mean, there are some people doing jokes and grifters around, making money, lying to people, and using the UFO field and abusing weak minds. But it's not only weak minds attracted to this thing. I think it's really a paradigm shift. You can really talk about these things. There's so many people witnessing this and got experiences with UFOs or even abductions or something. And yeah, to run this out, I'm gonna put in a 2-minute clip of a good conversation on theories of everything with R.Dolan. And yeah, it's not really a preview for the next one because I will disclose the next thing if I got the third part ready, and you will see it then. And yeah, if you made it to the end, it's pretty nice. Like, it was pretty tough, I guess, listening to my broken English for like approximately 1 hour. But yeah, I'm happy if you made it here. And yeah, thank you. And see you next time. Bye.
Yeah, I know what you mean when you say that there are large swaths of this UFO community that expostulate certain members, which I find to be interesting because the community as a whole is already ostracized, and then it's fractionated within it. So some people criticize me for having you on, or for having Jeremy Corbell on, or Luis Elizondo,
Oh,
because they don't
you had
believe these
Jeremy and
people.
Lou Elizondo on?
Yeah, there were wonderful conversations. People, if you're watching this and you would like to watch them, the links are in the description.
Yes.
And like, a part of me understands it because this phenomenon is so near and dear to the people who study it that they don't want people who they see as unreputable or disreputable to be getting some of the limelight. But at the same time, the reason why I'm not hitting you with questions like, well, what's the evidence of so and so, like the traditional skeptic would because first of all, I can predict you're primarily going to say we don't have hard evidence or hard proof. It's not like the sciences. And second of all, I'm trying to ask you from the perspective of, what if what you're saying is true, and I just want to understand, how are you coming at this? How are you arriving at your conclusions? Yeah. I don't see that same open-mindedness in this community that should, well, that's false. I'm generalizing, but there are some people in this community who denigrate completely other people in the community
About the
rather
UFO
than
crowd,
listening to
UFO.
ad hominems rather than listening to their arguments. But I also understand it at the same time.
A lot of people are keyboard warriors. They don't publish anything. They just follow. And, some of these are the perennial guys who live in mom's basement and they got no other life. I mean, that's the truth. So, but they can be very loud and prominent. And it can make people think that, if someone who does that, who just trash talks on someone under a pseudonym, which a lot of these people will do, like, is that a legitimate part of the community or not? Well, they kind of force their way in, and because they're loud enough, they can make it seem like they're a part of the community. But are they really? I don't know who these people are. I don't want to engage in a debate with anyone if they're hiding behind a pseudonym, that's for sure. Why the hell would I want to play that game? So there are people like